we're going to be answering some of these questions, all of these questions here. What are some of the systems that help you keep your vehicle running properly? Any of you know? Can any of you make a guess on those, or how many of you know one or two or three or four or five of the systems? Well, we're going to answer that in a moment. Why do you need to know your vehicle systems? I suppose if you don't know what the systems are, how about cooling system? Have you ever heard about that? So, why do you think you need to know about the cooling system? Good. How about exhaust? Would that be a system?
Yes.
So these systems are going to be really important for you to know a little bit about. 3, what fluids are important to a vehicle? Do you think Coca-Cola would be one that's important to a vehicle? So what would be one fluid that's important to a vehicle?
Gasoline.
Gasoline. That's true. Oil. Yes, oil's a real important one. It's kind of like the blood of the engine. Number 4, how do you check your tires? Any of you know how to check your tires to see if they're good? The tread is good? How?
You could like get a pressure gauger. It's like one of the things that look like a pen, but it's not really a pen.
That would work.
You bring it up. You can bring it up to the tire, and you see like a little screw on it. And you press it, and it gives you a little bit of air from what's in the tire, and it pulls up like a stick from the inside of it.
So let me ask you, are you a mechanic?
No, my parents have it.
Your parents kind of taught you. Nice job. Number 5, how do you change a tire? Have any of you ever had to change a tire? You have.
Yeah. How about myself?
Good, good. Do you think it's important to know how to change a tire?
Yes.
It is really important. And how do you safely jump a battery? How many of you have ever been in a car where the car is needed a jump? In Minnesota, that can happen a lot. We've got some cold weather and batteries say, no, help me, I don't like it. So you've got to really know how to do that, because if you don't, you can run into some big problems. All right, so vehicle systems. We've got the engine. That engine, have you ever opened up the hood and looked at the engine and gone, wow, it looks like a whole bunch of tubes and metal and wires, and like, what do I do with this? So it's really good to learn a little bit about the engine. The cooling. So why would you need a cooling system? Who can tell me why you need a cooling system? Say what?
So your engine doesn't overheat?
Yeah, because there's a lot of moving parts in your engine, and they get hot, especially metal on metal. And so you need a cooling system. And so it's really important that you understand what fluids you put in. You know, if your engine overheats, one thing you can do is you can turn the heater on, and that draws heat away from the engine. Really good trick. So, lubrication. So, what kind of fluid would you put in for lubrication in your engine? Oil. You know, if you don't have enough oil in that engine, you can run into some major problems. Did you know that pistons go up and down 2,000 times a minute? You knew that. You're my mechanic. 2,000 times a minute. And you've got some cars 4, 6, 8, 10 pistons in it. So that can get really hot at 2,000 times a minute. Everybody, take your hands like this here. Squeeze them together. And really go as fast as you can. See if you can go 2,000 times a minute. What's happening to your hands?
It's getting real hot.
They're getting warm. So if you put hand lotion on it, would they be as warm? No. And that's what that oil does in your engine. And we're going to talk more about that. Electrical. I think the battery is an important part of your your car? It really is. The electrical system, the battery makes the power, and then you've got the alternator that charges the battery, and then you've got the voltage regulator that tells the alternator how much energy to put out. And so it's complicated, but at the same time, the basics are easy, and you will really do yourself well knowing a little bit about all your systems. The fuel system, who said, boy, gas is one of the liquids? Was that you? Nice move, that was good. But running out of gas can burn out your fuel pump. Any of you know that? How about my mechanic? Did you know that? Running out of gas can burn out your fuel pump, and you've got a fuel pump shut-off switch that it may trip as well, and you simply, if that happens, you can flip the switch and look in your owner's manual to find out how to do that. You all know that owner manuals tell you a lot? It's really good. So let's look at the powertrain. When you look at the powertrain and you look at your transmission and all of the parts in there, that's an important part. Important system of your car. And you want to check the transmission fluid, you want to keep that lubricated. The powertrain system transfers power from the engine to the ground. It gets those wheels going so that you can move forward or move into reverse. And there's manual and automatic transmissions. You've got drive shafts, you've got four-wheel drives, you've got rear-wheel drives, and you've got U-joints, axles, and that's all part of that system. And this actually came from a Hummer. It's just really kind of nice to know a little bit about those. When you look at your brakes, what do brakes do for you?
Slow down and stop.
Stop the car. But there's brake fluid, and so you really want to know where to put the brake fluid. If you hear a screeching or a metal sound when you're driving and you hit the brakes, that tells you something, doesn't it? It says something's wrong with my brakes, and you want to then check it out and make sure, because you don't want to have your brakes burn out. Let's go on.
Depending on